All right, thanks guys for jumping on this afternoon for this young alum roundtable. We have four young CBA alums from four different classes. And I think it's going to be really great to talk about both your CBA and your college experiences. And I think that our community, especially our current students, really like to hear from young alums because you guys are the most recent grads here at CBA, and you're going to be, you kind of have the example of what their college and future professional lives are going to be like. So thank you again for jumping on. Here this afternoon, we have Nick Demuria from the class of 2016, who recently graduated from the University of Richmond. From the 2017, we have Drake Anzano, who's at Princeton University right now. From the class of 2018, we have Jack Butterfield at Providence College. And from 2019, we have Chris Wright, who's at George Washington University. And so to start here, I kind of want to talk about your CBA memories, but I'm kind of going to give each of you a little bit of a different topic about your CBA memories. And Drake, I'm going to start with you. Thinking back to the academic time and your academic curriculum here at CBA from freshman year to senior year, what kind of impact did the CBA curriculum have on both your time in college now, but when you think about your CBA time and the academics, how did that mold you as a young man at that time?
Yeah, so, I mean, everyone knows coming in as a freshman at CBA, the academics are going to be, you hear the stories of CBA's academics are difficult, they kill you with homework, X, Y, Z. And then you always kind of brush them off as if they're like rumors or something. But when I got there freshman year, the homework was a little bit much freshman year, but what it really taught me as a freshman is that it developed my work ethic. That like, if as long as you like really put your head down and stay focused on it, you're going to be fine through freshman year. Then once you get through freshman year, you just reset and you start sophomore year. And over my 4 years, I just developed like a better work ethic that helped me through each academic year. And, it helped me through my classes when I struggled. And then, CBA had that great support system of like, you can get in there at 7:30, you can see your teacher. I used to go to see Mr. Spidel every morning before class started to help me with math. It was just like, you were never left out to dry. So CBA was always there to help you with your academics if you needed help. And what was great about them is that the teachers would also reach out to you if they knew you were struggling, which was like, that was like the best part. Cause I struggled through some courses and the teachers were just the best. So they really helped me develop that work ethic. And when I got to Princeton, it was like second nature almost. I just knew how to, like CBA helped me develop the skills to function naturally at Princeton. So when the kids were like kind of struggling to do the work here and there, I was like, I've been doing it for 4 years. This is nothing new to me. So it was a blessing, really.
And I think that's what our goal here at CBA is put you in that place where when you get to college, you're confident no matter what school you go to, you're going to be confident when you get there. So Jack, I'm going to go to you next. And I want to talk a little bit about the social aspect of CBA, because that is something that's really unique. And I think it's something that graduates always talk about. Looking back on your time at CBA with the socialization with your friends, and not even your friends, just talk about classmates, underclassmen, people that not necessarily were your best friend, but can you talk a little bit about what you remember most about the social aspect of CBA?
Yeah, certainly. For sure, it was really just a brotherhood in the sense that everyone knew each other and everyone was going through the same, so everything was the same with everyone and everyone was there to help each other. And socially, everything after school, all clubs, sports, games, it was just a nice thing to have for all of us, certainly, to go to after school. And you just made a lot of friends through that, whether it was student council or through sports. And certainly going to the games, sure, we've all been part of the Colt Crazies and just cheering on whatever sports team we were watching. And just the social aspect of CBA was pretty unique because everyone just stuck together, and that was a really neat part of school.
Exactly. And I know for sure we're missing the Colt Crazies a little bit right now. We would love to see the Colt Crazies at a basketball game next year. We'll get them back. So the current students don't have to fret. We're gonna get those Colt Crazies back in the gym. Chris, I want to go to you next. And Jack kind of talked about the brotherhood and the camaraderie. Talk about your senior year and how special your senior year here was, being a senior at CBA, what came with that, your best memories of being a senior here at CBA.
Well, it was extremely special for me, my senior year. In the beginning, it was a little bit stressful, like we were talking about before, about how, you're trying to apply to colleges and, waiting every day to check the portal to see if you got in or, whatever. But after that point, after deciding where you're going to go, and after I decided where I was going to go to GW, it was just very rewarding. I was able to like sit back, take a deep breath, relax, and enjoy the rest of my time with my classmates and brothers at CBA. And I say it was rewarding because I was able to do everything that I hadn't been able to do in my first 3 years, like maybe go to a soccer game that I never had time for before, but now I had time to like really do the little things, and I appreciate that very much.
Exactly. And I think that that's something that each year at CBA, I think you just mentioned how you added a little on in senior, each year at CBA, freshman to sophomore, junior, all those years, you add a little bit of something and it makes for your whole CBA experience. Nick, we both Jack and Chris just mentioned the brotherhood, but I want to ask you about why you thought the camaraderie at CBA was so special. It sometimes comes off as a tagline, but once you're in the school, was it really evident that the camaraderie was something special that you probably weren't going to find somewhere else?
So yeah, I have to say, I think that the points that everyone has touched on already, the level of work, the time management, the social aspects, and even the glorious senior years, we all remember it. It all leads into the brotherhood itself. You struggle with your brothers, your classmates each day to get through your workload, to get through that crazy paper that Mr. Cusick will give you a 0 on if you have one spelling mistake. And through those processes, through those struggles, you build that camaraderie, you build that friendship. I think one of the greatest things CBA does is integrate extracurriculars with the school aspect of life, and that additionally adds another layer on to the brotherhood. Some of my best friends in life are the guys that I played rugby with at CBA, the guys that I did stage crew with, any of the various organizations and activities that CBA had to offer. My friends and I took full advantage of those. And I have to say, those guys are my best friends for life. I went out to dinner with 2 of them the other night, and, we celebrated birthdays, and they've been there for me at my lowest points and my highest points. And, that would not be possible without CBA.
Exactly. And I think that's something that's going to resonate with every class of CBA. We're actually getting ready to welcome the class of 2025 on Thursday night. We're going to have a virtual welcome. And Brother Frank always gets up there and he tells them, like, these guys are going to be your friends for life. You're not going to be friends with all 200 kids. It's just not possible, but you're going to have that subset of friends that you're going to carry with you for years and years. And so the biggest question, or one of the bigger questions, is talking about your transition from CBA to college. And it's different for everybody, and everybody goes to different schools. So it's bound to be unique for each and every one of you. I'm going to start with you, Chris. Can you talk about your transition as the most recent grad here from 2019 from CBA to GW? What did you find challenging at all, or what did you find easy? And did you see any differences between you and your classmates at college, or you and your college friends, where you're like, hey, CBA did prepare me because, my friends here at college are maybe they're stressing out a little bit or have to study a little bit differently than I do?
Yeah, it was an interesting transition, and like Drake brought up before, I was a bit surprised to see how so many other kids, whether it be some of my roommates or people on my floor or just friends that I met throughout the transition, were doing a lot more work because they didn't have those time management skills from CBA, and they were going to these private schools around the country, but just did not have the groundwork that CBA gave me. And I think what I found was different with some of the kids that I met were that they weren't well connected, like a brotherhood. Like I met some other kids that went to the same high school and things like that, and it was just different to see how they acted towards their classmates from high school and things like that. I mean, one of my roommates was also a CBA grad. He graduated with me. And, even though we weren't the closest of friends at CBA, we stuck together and we actually became very good friends. See him at least once a week now. So I think again, going back to like the cliche brotherhood, it helped me through my transition because I was able to talk to other CBA grads at GW. And it really just showed me how much CBA prepared me for the workload.
Jack, you're nodding over there through what Chris is saying. Can you relate to some of those experiences on your transition between CBA and college?
I certainly can. I mean, I was thinking back to when I was leaving CBA. I loved it there and was very sad to leave, and knowing that I wasn't going to be with the 200 or so kids in my grade ever in school again. So it was a weird transition in that sense. But like Chris said, once I was there, and also Drake touched on this earlier, the work ethic that was instilled in us through CBA was really helpful, and I noticed it from the second week I was at school freshman year. Just seeing kids fall behind and not having that strong sense of time management. And I think a lot of people lose focus in that. At college, you have a lot more free time between your classes, and you're not having the 8 periods of class a day, and you have a lot more free time in that sense. So having that time management skills to sit down, get your work done, collect yourself for the next day is really important. CBA definitely taught me that. So I'm very thankful for that.
And Drake, obviously Princeton has the reputation of being a tough academic school, but as a transition as a whole, from academics, but also just, living by yourself or living on your own and relating to, new classmates at Princeton, could you touch on your transition from CBA to Princeton?
Yeah, absolutely. So, I mean, everyone already like touched on the whole academic thing. Like CBA really did help prep me in terms of like getting my work done and stuff. Like I have like a 100-page thesis due before I graduate for Princeton, and it's due in April, and I'm already more than halfway done with it. So it's like I'm just so used to getting everything done beforehand. But in terms of like overall, like I will say like I got used to it getting to Princeton, but I realized that really nothing else is quite like CBA when I got to college. Like, I got to Princeton, I'm like, all right, like when the sports games, like when's soccer, when's football, basketball, everything. And I realized like no one really cares about like that, like CBA did. Like there's no PA system going on at 8:30 being like, yo, soccer just kicked Manasquan's butt last week and at short conference or this and that. So it's like, it was kind of like I'm grown up now in a way. So, I mean, the transition was easy. CBA prepped me well. But it was kind of like, man, I wish I was back.
And Nick, as the elder statesman of the group here, you're a little bit further removed from your transition, but did you see, kind of elements of your CBA life in college throughout your 4 years?
So I have to say I did. Everybody, no matter what college you go to, I love CBA. The material will be harder than what you're taught at CBA, but just slightly. I always like to tell people, it may not be significantly more difficult, but the time management skills you learn at CBA prepare you for anything. No matter how hard the material you're given is, you have developed such a core ethic of studying, reviewing, editing, and publishing whatever you're making that it's almost impossible not to get your work done. I had many friends who didn't have great teachers like there are at CBA who prepared you, and like Jack said earlier, were willing to, wake up early in the morning and help you get through a tough subject. That's not a case in college. Not every teacher is going to be there to help you and, help out. So just having that extra, ability of going in and saying hi to your teachers and, working through a tough subject, you already are prepared in a sense of, how to handle an issue when it arises. You don't need to do it with help of others once you get to college because you've been taught how to handle an issue. And I think some other people said it earlier, a lot of your classmates in college may not have gone to a school like CBA or may have gone to a school with a reputation close to CBA. And I have to say no one comes close to the Academy men. No one.
And you've all talked a little bit about your college experience here and more so the transition between CBA and college, but college experiences are super different for each and every kid. It doesn't even matter if you go to CBA, you go to any school, your college experience is never going to be the same as the guy next to you. And so, Jack, can you talk a little bit about your college experience as a whole? Challenges, things that you've really enjoyed, things that have stood out to you as, you're going to have those memories and those experiences once you graduate Providence.
Yeah, certainly. So, I mean, kind of touching on transitioning into college part, again, time management was a really important thing that I learned and had. Obviously, going to class, you don't have to wear shirt and tie, so that part's a little different. There's girls in the classes now, so that was a little different at first. But just the whole aspect of being independent for 4 years and really just living with kids your age for these 4 years is something that's going to be pretty special, and I think is a pretty rare case that you will have that in the rest of your life. And just being a grown up and having to solve things out on your own, but also kind of going through it with your roommates or your friends, and you're really all in the same boat in those terms. So just knowing that I will have these friendships for these past 3 years, gonna be the last one next year, is just really something that I'm going to take away from Providence and just the whole college experience.
And Nick, I'll go back to you here. You just concluded your college experience, and you have the whole 4 years to talk about. What did you find most challenging about your 4 years at college?
I have to say, interacting with the other people, it's something that, when you're not in Cba, it's different than you're expecting. Like we said, the brotherhood and camaraderie of Cba means you have a lot of fallbacks with your friends, your family, your teachers, and you're almost in a bubble. It's a good bubble, but you are in that bubble. And like Jack said, once you become a grown up and you do get thrust into real life, it can be difficult. Some people, find it difficult to transition. Other people, it's hard to make your own meals and fold your own laundry. But I have to say, it's a process for everyone. Freshman year, try new things, try things that you didn't do in high school, try things you did and find your group. College is a place where if you don't become involved or you don't find friends, you can fall by the wayside. But I think any CBA man is prepared well enough to not fall by the wayside, to find your group of people and to find your friends, because even though a lot of your classmates didn't go to CBA in college, there's still some very good people out there that'll help you grow in both life, business, and, every sense of, whatever you hope to achieve in life. You just stick to it, stay determined, and you'll make the most out of college.
Excellent. And Drake, I'm going to throw it to you here because you're in state. You're across the way here in Princeton, but it's not the same as being in Lincroft. So what has your experience been like out in Princeton, at the university, but also, living in a different place and being more independent?
Yeah, absolutely. So, going to Princeton, like you really quickly find out that you're not in New Jersey anymore. Even though you are in New Jersey, you're not really in New Jersey, because everyone there is like, I got some friends from Australia, England, the middle of the country. My roommate was from South Korea my freshman year. So it was wild. It was nice though, because like my parents were only like an hour away back in Tom's River, so like they were just far enough where it wasn't too easy for them to come to get me. But if they needed to come visit me, it was quick enough. So it was nice. But I mean, I was very fortunate when I got to Princeton. Like I was on the cross country and track team, so I got there. I automatically had a group of friends already there. Some of them I ran all against in high school from other schools in the tri-state area, so it was nice. But like I think Nick said it well, that like when you get to college, you really should try to find other things that you're like into. I wish I had like more time to go back freshman year and like get into this club, or like the finance club, or the investment club, and all these other, like there's cool speakers that come all the time. So like college is like a great opportunity to like just kind of not so much network, but like find what your interests are. Because CBA, like you kind of just you see everything going on there, and you're like, oh man, I love sports, I love that. And then you get to college, and you're like, there's so much more to the world than just like Nick said, our little nice bubble. So I think that's like the great opportunity of college, is to find your new like interest.
Great. And a couple times we've mentioned the word bubble, and one thing I can describe Washington D.C. as is not a bubble. because you got a lot going on down in DC, Chris. So talk about it moving to a big city like that. And the Jersey Shore is full of small towns where, a lot of times they're tight-knit communities. Talk about going to DC and going to school in DC. What has that experience been like, and how have you transitioned and kind of gotten used to living in a city like that?
Well, city life is very different. Growing up in a small town, the Jersey Shore for 18 years and then moving to DC was a big adjustment. And I was talking to actually Mrs. Meehan about it, because her and Mr. Meehan had spent a lot of time in DC living there, and she described it as one of the most diverse cities, in America, and I totally agree. You know, we had done some service opportunities I got to take part in through GW, which I loved because it like brought me back to my CBA days, and we got to see like the different communities that you don't normally see that aren't by campus, which was really nice to see. And just getting to meet people, you know, that are not only from the DC area, but like Drake said, from around the world. It's really interesting. And then, seeing congressmen and senators walk by campus because we're only a 20-minute walk from the White House. It's so interesting to be put right in the middle of a city, but also this is your campus. So usually, one of the things that people at GW say is like, we don't have walls. Like we're a campus without walls. And it's true. Like, there are different people that come in and out of campus. Like we live in DC, and, I've been taking advantage of it, getting involved in different things. And as far as the transition goes, I've just been, taking my interest from CBA to the next level. So joining the same clubs that I was interested in at CBA, like mock trial and things like that, and getting to know the people in DC and, looking for internships and things like that.
No, that's great. And DC is definitely a great city. It's one of my favorite places to go visit because it's such a nice city to walk around in. And, before we move on to kind of the fun part of this roundtable, I would be remiss if I didn't ask Nick, as a recent college grad, about the job search. And the other guys here can chime in with, internship opportunities and stuff like that. But Nick, talk about the job search and give maybe our current students a idea on what your job search was like. What was your major? Kind of how did you get to where you are right now as a recent college grad?
Sure. So as many people that go to college end up finding out, the major you thought you wanted to do before leaving high school probably isn't what you're going to do. I went into college thinking I wanted to be in journalism. I don't know why, but I ended up going to history and classical civilizations double major. Somehow I did not get a job with either of those. I currently work in PR, but I have to say the job search during COVID has been tricky, to say the least. I had a lot of friends who, throughout their college experience, because of the major or the degree that they were going for, had internships or grad programs already set up for them. And a lot of my friends prior to COVID, becoming a real thing last year, had a job already. I did not. I had internships throughout college. I worked for Congressman Chris Smith, who is, CBA's congressman. And I worked for a few political ad agencies in Richmond and whatnot. So I did have some physical experience. I think I would say I applied to 100 different jobs when we were first graduating, and I heard back from one. And it's the job I'm currently in. Don't tell my boss that. But, I have a lot of friends who are applying for jobs right now, some guys that are seniors in college currently, and seems like the market's evening out a little bit more. I think, when you hear your professor in class talking about their random speaker that's coming to talk or an internship opportunity, take it. Go and talk to them, get as much information as possible. Freshman year, summer, enjoy your summer. Go work a minimum wage job. Go have fun. Like you get that last year, and then after that, seriously start looking for internships that interest you. Whether it be in finance, the government, or whatever you're passionate about. Stick to it. It doesn't have to be the best internship in the world. Doesn't matter if your friend has a better one. Get the experience on your resume. It will help you down the line. But make sure you're passionate about it, because I can promise you, you do not want to be doing something that you have no passion for the rest of your life. So yeah.
I like how you use the word passion, because I think that does matter in any job. You want to enjoy what you're doing. It's not always going to be perfect, but you want to enjoy it. Jack and Drake, you guys have, been in college for a couple of years now. Do you guys have any internship or major advice, deciding a major, choosing an internship type advice you want to lend out?
Jack, do you want to take this one, or?
Yeah, so I'll speak on terms of the major. Nick kind of touched on it. I think a lot of people going into school may not stick with the major that they choose, and I would say I would encourage that if you don't find a major that you like right at the beginning, do not stick with it, and don't stick it out, and just find something that you're really passionate about, like Nick said, and always find something that you are interested in and you think that you can apply to school life. Not only that, but daily life, and really just focus in on something that you're really passionate about, like Nick said. And then internship advice for Drake.
Oh yeah. So in terms of internships, like I would say, like I didn't stress too much about it. I personally didn't get an internship while I was at school. I kind of figured I struggled, or not really struggled, stressed a lot through my academics, like each semester. So it was kind of like my summer was a little time to like kind of decompress a bit. So I worked the same job I've been working since I was a freshman at Cba as a lifeguard at the beach. I still feel pretty grateful about internships. I have constant alumni coming back to Princeton. I have so many guys from the track team and cross country team that are now working in finance, consulting, you name it, they're in those positions. So I feel very blessed. And also great is the Cba Alumni Network. Believe it or not, I use more of the Cba Alumni Network for stuff than I do the Princeton Alumni Network, because they're just as good as, if not better, because they actually, they care about you. They're kind of like always in the area. I'll be at a Cba cross country meeting, I'm bumping into somebody who works in finance, and I can just chat their ear off for a little bit. So I don't really stress too much about internships, because I feel like it'll come when it presents itself, and like when you feel like the moment's right.
And we've said this a couple of times so far, like there's no one route for anybody.
Yeah.
The internship route might work, and I think you guys would all agree. It might work for some people, it might not work for other people. And Drake made a good point about networking. So, there's no one concrete way to get a job, to, do this or that. So I think you guys all lent a little bit to that. But we'll go to the fun part and kind of the quick hitters that I have here for you to wrap up our time here. And I'm going to start with Nick here. Advice for Cba seniors. Those guys are in the middle of their senior year right now. Obviously, COVID has impacted their Cba year a little bit. Actually, I shouldn't even say a little bit, a good amount. But do you have any advice that you would lend to current seniors as they finish up the college selection process and head towards their Cba graduation?
Yeah, obviously with COVID, things are a little bit different than our year. When we got out 2 months earlier from every other school, we played spike ball for the next 2 months till we graduated, and I loved it. But I have to say, really take stock of like what's important to you in life. Spend time with your family and friends. Albeit through Zoom if you have to right now, but really appreciate everything that you have in your life, in your home, everything, because those next 4 years, like we've said, you are independent. You'll come home for Thanksgiving or Easter, whatever you end up, even if you end up living at home, your life is going to change, indefinitely for the next 4 years. And some of those things that you've enjoyed your whole life may not be there when you get back, or may be very different than you remember them. So really just take it all in. Go get the bagel that you want to get from your favorite bagel shop. I can promise you, going to a school in Virginia, there's no decent bagels down there. Hang out with your friends, have a conversation with someone that you used to be really good friends with, but you're not anymore, because everyone's lives are about to drastically change. So this is your last time to really appreciate that brotherhood and camaraderie that you have in the same place. It's not that it's not going to be there, but it's not going to be the same anymore, guys. It's a tough pill to swallow, but you can handle it. I promise.
And good things come. Like any change, it's a little bit different, but good things are coming down the road for all of our current seniors right now. The good news is we are going to have some events for them in the spring, outdoor events. So we'll be able to give them a nice send off, albeit not 100% normal. We're gonna make the spring a really nice spring for the seniors. But Chris, I'm going to throw it to you next. Talk about your advice for the underclassmen at CBA. So our freshmen, our sophomores, our juniors who still have some time left at CBA. What would your advice be to them as they continue through their CBA career?
My advice for underclassmen would be to, basically take advantage of every opportunity that presents itself, whether it's a club that you always wanted to join, but you never had time, make time for it. Because I look back on like some things that I, said I should have gone to that, or I, should have signed up for that. And I never got the chance to. You don't want to ever say that. I wish I would have done that. So, take advantage now, and that goes for academics too. If there's something that you need help with, go see a teacher about it. Don't let it get too long where you don't know what's going on. CBA, like we said, has a great support system. Take advantage, because if you're behind, you will get ahead by taking advantage of not only teachers but your classmates. Ask your brothers, and that's my advice. Just take advantage of every moment, every opportunity.
And Jack, I'll go to you next. A quick hitter advice for current CBA seniors as they look towards their May graduation here at CBA.
Yeah, I could really only think of a couple things. And one, enjoy every last minute at CBA. As cliche as that sounds, this is the last time that you'll get to be with all your classmates. It's the last time you'll be walking in the halls as a CBA student. Go do the activities that you've wanted to. Anything before school, after school that has been on your mind wanting to do, just do it. This has been a really great opportunity that you've had for 4 years at CBA, and just finish it off on a strong note. And in terms of the college search, I know it's easier said than done, but don't stress too much about it. It certainly is a scary time with a lot of uncertainty and the fact that you're going into the real world in a couple of months, but just enjoy where you're at right now and know that there's only good things to come.
And Drake, I'll finish up with you on this. The underclassmen at CBA, they've got a lot to look forward to. Can you give them some advice and some of the things that they have to look forward to in the next couple of years at CBA?
Oh yeah, so once you get through freshman year, CBA gets like infinitely better because it's no longer like they're trying to, you're trying to get through freshman year. You kind of navigated it your way through. So, I mean, those like in my personal opinion, sophomore, junior year are like they are the glory years. Like as cliched it sounds, like Springsteen has a song about it. Those are your glory days. So I mean, like it just gets so much better. Like the best years of my life are those 2 years before like the college hunt coming, and you get through that hard freshman year. And I would say get ready to look forward to like, the dances are always fun, those sporting events, like going like, as much as I hate, like you guys may not like it, go to that cross country state meet and get in the stampede at the top of Homedale Parks Hill. Like that is psycho. It is so much fun. Go to the soccer games, like paint yourself blue. Like after freshman year, like everything makes sense. And that's like, just go do it. Cause I think like it was in Ferris Bueller's day off. They said like, life flies by. And if you don't stop around and look around, you can miss it. And like, you're always thinking like, oh, I can't wait to get to sophomore year. I can't wait to get to junior year. But once you get to senior year, like, man, that went by real quick. And I wish I was like back as a freshman. So really take advantage of the moment and really enjoy it.
You pulled out all the pop culture references.
Yeah, I did.
I enjoyed that, but you're right. And with hopefully the dissipation of the pandemic, we'll get back to all those events next year, and those underclassmen are going to have a great next couple of years. But I got a couple more quick hitters for you, and these submissions are actually from our student council executive board. So they got me a bunch of questions, but I picked two questions that really quickly go through them and give me starting with Chris, your favorite CBA memory of all time.
Well, that's hard. I had a lot of great memories at CBA, but if it came down to it, I would say my last day of class, senior year, bagpiping everybody out, or all of my classmates, seniors out. That was probably like the best experience. Coming in, I had no idea how to play the bagpipes. Worked through my years with Brother Frank and our coaches, learning how to play, and then that last day of class, senior year, leading the band out with everybody going crazy on the last day. That has to be my favorite memory.
I'm sure that a lot of people love that moment. Nick, favorite memory from your time at CBA?
So I mean, this is like asking to pick a needle out of a haystack here, but I have to say one of my favorite and most vivid memories from CBA was my freshman year when the rugby team won the state championships. Being there together, culminating a year's worth of hard work into the highest level you can get at high school, at least for our sport. Our cross country buddies would usually win national championships down there, Drake, but it was fantastic. Those guys that were there with me that day are still my best friends to this day. And, that achievement is just as strong as it was then to me now. And something you don't realize when you get out of college and when you get out of CBA is there are no more trophies and awards and big events like that. And, you really don't get a chance to go back and do those things again. So, something that I have to say that may be my favorite CBA memory.
Awesome. And I know that decades upon decades of CBA athletes probably would know what you're talking about with the state championships. But Jack, favorite CBA memory of all time?
Has to be the last week of school, our senior shirt day. Maybe a little weird one, but just to see everyone wearing their shirts, seeing where they're going to school, and kind of just seeing like where everyone is going, and kind of knew that we all made it through these 4 years together. And also we won the intramural championship for basketball that day. So not to brag or anything, but also a fun part of it. But yeah, again, just to see where everyone was ending up and know that we were all in it together for the 4 years. And we came out strong as a whole. Was pretty cool to see on that day.
Hey, those intramural basketball games, they mean something. When you got the crowd watching those intramural games, they're big time. Drake, favorite CBA memory?
Yeah, favorite CBA memory. I guess I'm gonna have to go with the cross country or track and field. I have my jersey on still. I guess it would be 2016. It was like January, indoor state relays. It was against Union Catholic, so we called it like the Holy Wars. They were like the best team in the state. We were the best team in the state. And it came down to like the last event. And it was like, if we didn't win this event, like we were not winning the state championships. And I was the anchor of the relay. And like, I remember like Coach Torch telling me like, listen, you gotta take it out hard or whatever. You gotta do this strategy. And I was just like, all right, like kind of nervous. And then I got the baton and I just ran with my heart out. And I like in that moment, nothing else mattered to me. It sounds kind of weird and everything, but like literally nothing else mattered to me except those 3 letters. I remember running down the back stretch of the Toms River Bible, just hearing like every single CBA kid there chanting like CBA so loud that it filled the bubble. And if you watch the video back today, like you can just hear them chanting. And then like the stampede of runners running across the track, like pushing like all these like, other public schools, like kids out of the way, just like burying them down. The officials are yelling at them. And we won that title. And I was just like, I could have broken my leg after that. I didn't care, but like, that was just the greatest moment of my life almost.
I could tell your passion for that story, but like you said, for decades, those runners have talked about running for those 3 letters on their chest. So we're going to move to the last question here because we're running out of time. It's going to be tough. You only get one word to describe CBA. So how would you describe CBA in one word? And we'll go from oldest to youngest. Nick, give me your one word to describe CBA.
Well, I'm going to have to be cliche and stay with prepared. You are prepared for everything life can throw at you, whether it's school, your actual personal life, trying to achieve anything. You have the work ethic, the friends, the religious upbringing. You have everything that CBA has given to you, and you take it into the real world. Whether you use it or not is up to you, but you are more prepared than 99% of every other student that's leaving high school in the entire country. And I fully stand by that, and I will fight anyone who tries to tell me otherwise.
Excellent. So prepared is Nick's word. Drake, give me your one word to describe CBA.
This is a hard question, it's really difficult, but I'm probably gonna go with, it's gonna be, I'm gonna say it's legendary, because that school is just, it is a horse farm. It is just like 100 and something acres of just tradition, and no other college, professional sports team, business, whatever you want to call it. There's no other place I've ever been that has as much tradition and brotherhood as CBA.
I love it. I love the word legendary. That's not a word that everybody uses every day, but legendary is Drake's word. All right, Jack, give me your one word to describe CBA.
I'm going to have to go with the word that's probably most repeated and talked about with CBA, and that's brotherhood. I mean, you're never going to go somewhere in life where you're surrounded by all your classmates at an all-guys school and just having the same bonding moments throughout those 4 years, and even outside of school, wherever you go, throughout the Jersey Shore, anywhere in Jersey, even up here at Providence, it just breeds CBA kids all over the place, and just that brotherhood is so special. From current students, alumni, it's just really a special, tight-knit community that I think is a pretty cool brotherhood for sure.
Excellent. Brotherhood is certainly a good word. All right, Chris, we're going to wrap things up with you. Your one word to describe CBA.
I would say home. It's really just home for me. When we talked about the college transition and going elsewhere, and I think of CBA as home. We always when I come back to visit, my parents or everything, I'm like, well, maybe I should go see Brother Frank, see old teachers and everything. It's just because it's more than just a school that I used to go to. It's more than just my high school. It's where my brothers are, classmates stay brothers forever. It's home.
I love it. So we got prepared, legendary, brotherhood, and we wrapped it up with home. That was a perfect way to wrap this up. Guys, I can't thank you enough for taking 45 minutes to talk to me. I think we touched on so many awesome things about CBA, your college careers. Nick, you talked a little bit about your professional career. It's just shows, you guys took a lot from this place, but there's so much more to learn after CBA in a good way. It's not the end of your academic career when you leave CBA. It's the beginning of learning a lot. And me being back here as an alumnus working at CBA, you learn more. So it's a constant, learning process. And I think everybody grows and develops a little bit differently. So I love all your different perspectives. Thank you again. I can't wait to show this to our community. And I'm sure we'll see you around the campus pretty soon maybe when COVID dies down, you come on back and catch a game or so. Thanks, guys.
Thank you, Mr. Lutz.
Appreciate it.